Hello, friends, and welcome back to another round of stories about entitled people. Let's start today's video with a story that'll make your blood boil about a blind man, his loyal service dog, and one woman who decided to turn cruelty into a hobby. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. All right, let's get into it. When entitlement crosses the line. This happened earlier today, and I'm still shaking as I write about this. For context, I'm 20 years old and lost my sight about 2 years ago. On top of that, I have PTSD, so my guide dog helps me both with mobility and emotional support. He's not just my eyes, he's my anchor when my brain decides to turn against me. My dog is a Mastiff, big, calm, gentle, not your usual Labrador or Golden Retriever that people expect as guide dogs. He's properly trained and certified, wearing his vest, focused on his job. Normally, people just smile or comment on how handsome he is. But today I met a Karen. We were walking through the grocery store and everything was going smoothly. My dog guided me through the automatic doors, around a few displays, and into one of the aisles. I was just minding my business, running my hand along the shelf to find what I needed, when I heard a voice. Sharp, mocking, dripping with sarcasm from somewhere to my left. "Oh, I can tell you really need that dog," she said. I froze for half a second, unsure if I'd heard right. The tone said everything. She wasn't being kind, she was mocking me. My guess, she saw a young guy with a dog that wasn't a typical guide breed and decided I must be faking. It happens more often than you'd think. I took a breath and ignored her. Whatever, let her think what she wants. My dog's job is to keep me moving, not get involved in arguments with strangers. We were halfway down the aisle when I suddenly felt something jab me in the back. A single bony finger, then a whisper right behind my ear. "I can tell you really need that dog." That close, that personal. I jumped about a foot in the air. "Please don't touch me," I said, louder than I meant to. Her response, "I'm going to touch you," in the snottiest tone imaginable. By this point, I could feel my chest tightening. My breathing went shallow. The sound of her voice following me into the next aisle was like a warning siren in my head. My dog could tell I was spiraling. His pace changed. His body pressed against my leg. And when he realized I was starting to panic, he guided me to a wall and gently pushed me down to sit. This is part of his training, grounding me when I'm triggered. He pressed his big body into me, his head against my chest, his weight helping me stay in the present. I buried my fingers in his fur, trying to steady my breathing. But then I heard her again. Her shoes scuffed the floor as she walked closer. "Oh, I can tell you really need that dog," she repeated, standing right over me. Her voice was almost sing-song, like she thought she was being clever. I couldn't respond. My ears were ringing, my brain was spinning, and my heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would crack my ribs. I was trapped in that moment, shaking and trying to stay grounded while she loomed over me, talking to my dog like I wasn't even there. Eventually, she must have gotten bored or realized people were staring because she walked away. I don't even remember standing up, just that my dog led me outside and we made it home. Once we were inside, I gave him all the love and treats he deserved. He's lying under a blanket now, snoring like a log, not a care in the world. I wish I could say the same. What gets me isn't just that she was rude, it's how invasive she was. You don't jab a stranger in the back, you don't mock someone's disability to their face, and you definitely don't stalk them down an aisle just to prove whatever point you think you have. I'm so grateful for my dog. Without him, I probably would have had a full-blown flashback right there on the store floor. He did his job perfectly. He always does. But thanks to that woman, I'm now dreading the next time I have to go out alone. So thank you, Karen, for your unsolicited commentary and your lack of empathy. You managed to turn a simple shopping trip into a panic attack. I hope you have the exact kind of day you deserve, because I certainly didn't. More of us sane people with normal empathy need to step in when we witness situations like this, because it's not just this horrible woman that's the problem, but everyone who saw it and walked by without doing or saying anything. And our second story. The hunting HOA. Okay, here's how it went. Simple, no pomp. Just the kind of story you retell to friends on the porch with a mug of coffee while two Jack Russells chase squirrels along the fence. My name's Mark. 15 years ago, I moved to the U.S., built up a network of e-commerce platforms in Europe, and I've been flying back and forth for work ever since. In my free time, I breed Jack Russell Terriers. I have 3 kids, 12, 10, and 7. They'd sleep in a house without pillows as long as the dogs were nearby. We've got 4, Rocky, Pepper, Jet, and Twig. Jack Russells are small, but their attitude is tank grade. The problem is coyotes don't read. We live in a tidy HOA community. You know the vibe, identical mailboxes, ruler-straight sidewalks, and letters from the board titled Friendly Reminder that are never friendly. Around us, hills, scrub, coyotes. They show up early in the morning when the fog sits low, running one program only, Jack Russell for breakfast. They came the first time in spring. Rocky had just dragged out a ball. The kids were laughing, and then a shadow slid in, one coyote, then a second. I whistled, flashed a light, nothing. I grabbed a starter pistol with signal blanks and popped a shot into the air. The coyotes vanished like someone swept them away with a broom. A day later, there's an envelope with the HOA seal in the mailbox. I open it. Fine in the amount of $1,500 for violation of Section 9.2.1, noise that frightens animals and residents. I read it 3 times. Seriously, I say out loud in the kitchen. Dad, do they know about the coyotes? My oldest, Sophia, asks. Let's talk to them, says the middle one, Nick. We're not mean people. I'm coming too, adds Mia, the youngest, whose cheeks always have cookie flour on them. I show up at the board meeting. At the table, 5 people in pearl sweaters with name badges. Chairing is a lady with a smile that looks like a plastic fence. Mr. Mark, she says, we've had complaints about gunshots from your yard. They were signal blanks. I was scaring off coyotes that came for our dogs. We have noise rules. They apply to everyone. Do you have a rule about predators tearing up pets? We sympathize, but this is a community, not a safari. You could have thrown a rock or banged a pot. Coyotes don't read your memos, I say calmly, and a pot doesn't do much against them. Then the fine stand, she says. We hope for your understanding, and please no more bang bang. I walked out and took a breath of night air that smelled like wet earth and injustice. The kids were waiting in the car. How'd it go? Nick asks. They're not listening, I say, but that's okay. We have other options. The plan was born of 3 things: healthy anger, knowledge of the rules, and a pinch of humor. Also a county parcel map I'd used back when I bought the house. Meanwhile, I started collecting paperwork, a statement to the local wildlife department confirming coyote activity, a note from a vet about an attack on a neighbor's cat. Sadly, it didn't make it. A letter from the sheriff stating blanks are legal when used to deter animals, and a couple of camera clips showing 2 shadows pacing our lawn's edge. Then I remembered a narrow wedge of land where our street meets the main HOA entrance. A little no-man's sliver left over from a subdivision. The wedge faced right toward the arch with our community's name. I checked the registry. The owner was an old farmer who'd moved away a decade ago. The land was tax clear, useless for a house. Nobody wanted it, but I did. I called a land broker. 3 weeks later, the wedge was mine. Official, legal, recorded. The way I like it. Dad, what are we going to do there? Mia asks when we drive over to see the future estate. We're going to make it so they'll beg us to stop, I say, and the dogs, as if they understood, bark happily. Project phase. I called it Green Valley Hunting and Safety Club. First, it sounds properly American. Second, the word safety is magic. I filed for a business registration, got a license for training shoots, coordinated a safety zone plan with the sheriff, built an earthen berm and sound damping panels. I hired a certified instructor, ordered targets, timers, first aid kits, and safety posters. All shots in strictly defined hours, only on a short lane with noise control. Plus a safety class for teens, how to behave around wildlife, what to do if you see a coyote, how blanks work, and why they're used. Is this legal? My neighbor Gus asked when he saw the excavator. 100%, I said, tapping the folder of permits. More than that, it's good for the community. On opening day, I hung a sign. Open 8 to 10 a.m. Safety training and practice. Welcome. And another one just below, smaller. Green Valley supports humane predator deterrence. Next to it, a rack of flyers from the wildlife department. Don't leave food outside. Keep pets secure. Don't feed coyotes. Yes, people even managed to do that. At 7:59, the instructor and I checked the targets, the barricades, and the berm. The kids stood off to the side in ear protection, dead serious, like we were opening a family bakery, only our buns were safety rules. At 8 o'clock, the first crisp thump into the target, not loud, muffled. but enough to make the HOA arch ring like a theater gong. A minute later, the second. 3 minutes, and a silver Lexus rolls up, door swings open, and out steps the chairwoman, same pearl sweater. "What is this?" Her voice snaps to command mode. "Morning safety practice," I say, pointing at the sign. "Open 8 to 10. This is a private community. You can't. This is shooting. This is my private business on my private land, fully permitted, cleared with the sheriff and county. Here's a copy." I offer the folder politely. "And by the way, your letter about me scaring animals with gunshots inspired me to add the educational segment. We now officially teach humane, safe predator deterrence." "But the noise! People are sleeping." "From 8 a.m. it's allowed by law. We also have noise mitigation. We can measure decibels. If you want, we can call an inspector right now." She looked at the kids with earmuffs, at the instructor with his badge, at the berm and neat targets. "Nothing to nitpick." We will revisit this," she exhales and drives off. We continue training. An hour later, the first customers show up, 2 parents with teenage boys. They sign up for Wildlife Safety 101. Week 2, every morning at 8 sharp, discipline tap, tap, tap into the cardboard. Not chaos, not war, a civilized string under supervision. 2 houses down from the arch lives Bob, a retired game warden. He stops by one day, listens, nods, and says, "Nicely done. People should know what to do when it's not Puss in Boots coming by, but a coyote without a conscience." "Stay for the lecture?" I ask. "Gladly. I'll bring photos of tracks. Let the kids learn the difference between dog and coyote." Meanwhile, the HOA kept writing letters. First, passive-aggressive ones about resident comfort, then official ones from an attorney fretting over the community's reputation. I replied with copies of permits, noise measurement logs, letters of support from the Wildlife Department, and the tastiest bit, stats. In the month after the club launched, there were 0 pet attacks in the neighborhood. People stopped leaving food bowls on porches because after our sessions, they started thinking. One Thursday, they finally showed up with a commission, the chair, 2 board members, their lawyer, and a guy with a sound meter. We greeted them politely, gave them visitor badges, walked them through every zone, and did a demo. The instructor read the rules like a boarding announcement. "We have a question," says the lawyer, pushing his glasses up. "Are you aware your business negatively affects the entry appeal and may reduce property values?" "We have a question too," I say. "Are you aware that resident safety raises value more than plastic tulips by the arch? Because, reminder, when you find me, coyotes were already walking under our fences." "That's unproven," he grumbles. "It's proven by the fact my kids and our dogs are safe, and by the fact you're standing here hearing how quiet this runs," I say, pointing to their own meter. The guy shrugs. Numbers are within limits. They left. And on Sunday, I got a letter, not from the HOA, but from a group of residents. "Thank you for the initiative. We're glad someone's finally doing something real." Some even became club members. We added family Saturdays, a lecture, cocoa for the kids, a short demo. My Jack Russells became little safety ambassadors, showing how to hold a leash, how to keep strange animals away from the gate, how to use a flashlight and a noise alarm. The climax came unexpectedly. One morning about 6 weeks in, a black Range Rover stopped under the arch. A man in a suit I didn't know stepped out, came over, and offered his hand. "I'm David. My house is just past the arch. Honestly, I was against this at first. The noise, the kids. But last night, our neighbor's dog slipped out. We were searching, and he came back safe. On the video from your stand, I saw a coyote approach the entrance, hear the morning pops, and dart back into the brush. So I came to say thanks." "No problem," I say, feeling warmth spread in my chest. "That's exactly why we're here." That same day, a letter arrived from the HOA, short, dry, no pearls. "In view of the documents provided and the inspection results, the board withdraws prior claims. Please adhere to the agreed hours of operation." I laughed, not triumphantly, just like a human being. Because you know what? Irony and justice do sometimes meet at the corner of the same street. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.